Hello and welcome back to the Spookins channel, a place for us to speak about all things horror. My name is Sam.
I'm Sarah.
We are on something new for you all today. A little idea we thought we would try, where we go back and we look at some of our favourite horror movies of the past and we put one big change into effect and ask ourselves the question, what if?
So here we've got our wheel, and on the wheel is 10 potential changes that could be made to the movie that we're discussing. And we've got 5 categories. So for this particular video, we've chosen the categories of a different killer, a different location, a different time period, different director, and a different final goal. Those might change from video to video, but it's what we've gone with for this one. So we'll spin it 3 times and we'll get 3 different changes to a movie. We'll only discuss them one at a time, but if they're particularly fun, we might discuss them all in one go at the end.
Maybe. We are starting this with Scream. So we're going back looking at the original Scream movie, but we will ask ourselves, what if Scream was set in Sunnydale, for instance, the Buffy universe? What if it was set in 1896, so 100 years in the past, directed by M. Night Shyamalan?
Yeah.
What if Cindy from Scary Movie was the final girl instead of Sidney Prescott? What if Vince Vaughn from Freaky inside Stu Macher's body was the killer in Scream? What if it was set in London, because that's where we're from? What if it was set in the 1970s? What if it was directed by Ty West of X fame? What if Chanel Oberlin from Scream Queens was the final girl? What if Jigsaw made his appearance in this movie? And those are the potential changes. We will take one from each category. So, for example, if we spin it and we get Jigsaw as the killer, we won't also discuss, even if the wheel tells us to, the possibility of Vince Vaughn appearing in the Scream.
Yeah, that'd be unfortunate. I've got my fingers crossed for Vince Vaughn. I know the ones I want.
Yeah, we know the ones we want, but they might not be the ones we get.
So shall we spin?
Let's have a spin.
Shall I do the first
spin? Number 1 of What If?
We got one that I wanted.
That's one that she wanted. There you go.
What if Scream was set in London?
So that is the first question we will ask ourselves. What is the second? Ooh. What if Scream was set in the 1970s? So just going a little bit back in time with that one.
And finally... Yes! What if Vince Vaughn from Freaky inside Stu Macher's body was the killer?
Okay, so having decided our 3, we will now move the wheel out of the way because we are having some space issues. You might also notice a costume change, but don't think anything of it.
Maybe we're filming it across 2 days.
And we... we'll be back after this. Welcome back. You may have noticed a few more changes than first thought. The wheel has disappeared though, we weren't lying. And we have had a costume change. But we've also kind of changed everything else. So yeah, ignore it. We're going to get on with the video.
Pretend it was seamless.
Yeah, absolutely. We will dive right in with our first scenario in which we replace Stu Macher's soul with that of the butcher Vince Vaughn from the movie Freaky.
Yes, the Blissfield butcher. So I think this changes quite a lot.
I do. My initial thought with this is that this movie is about 7 to 8 minutes long because he manages to kill Sydney immediately as she's not good enough to fight him off.
Fair, very fair. Yeah, I think there are some instances where the film could end quite early.
Yeah.
We'll entertain the idea that it doesn't end
Yeah.
as soon as...
Of course.
So in my notes, I've written down that I think the Blissfield Butcher tries to kill Stu just prior to the movie.
Mm-hmm.
not during Scream, prior to it, and switches bodies with him.
Yeah.
And I think that the Butcher is pretty pleased with this scheme.
Mm-hmm.
Because it gives him not as good a costume as Freaky did, but still a good costume. It gives him access to a friendship group in the school, gives him access to the school.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's quite happy with that.
Yeah, he also falls in the lap of Billy Loomis. He has
Exactly.
another killer who he can pin things on, so
Yeah.
he probably thinks he's more likely to get away with things for longer.
Yeah, so he's pretty happy with this deal, I think.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Gives him a pretty fit body. Quite big, large.
Yeah, very tall.
Yeah, not too dissimilar from his original in stature.
I think maybe Vince Vaughn's slightly more built than
Yeah,
Matthew
he is,
Lillard,
but it's not as dissimilar as...
No,
Catherine Newton.
Catherine Newton, yeah. And I think he's pretty happy with this. I also think that Stu at first thinks it's pretty cool as well. I think he's kind of into it too because he's a bit freaky deaky.
Yeah. So do we, in this instance then, do they swap bodies and then for a little while anyway, do we have 3 killers working in tandem? Is Stu Macker in the Butcher's body and Butcher in Stu Macker's body just like, yeah, sweet?
Yeah, might as well. I think so. I think with the Butcher and Stu switching bodies, there's 3 killers. 100%. You've got 3 people who just want to cause some chaos and murder some people. So I think that's a big change. At the start, there's 3 killers for sure.
Yeah. Okay, and all working... Is the Butcher kind of happy to go along with the Billy Loomis plan of action?
Yeah, I think so. At first, I think he's happy to go along with the plot because he likes to cause chaos, doesn't he?
Mm-hmm.
But where do you think that kind of changes? Do you think how long do you think he plays along with it?
Yeah, I think that becomes the big question of the movie. Is like, I think you can always kind of tell that he's not going to go along with it forever, and you get this kind of side quest or this side story of the audience being like every other scene kind of being like, oh, is he gonna go?
Yeah.
Oh, is he gonna go? Like he's on the edge of a heel turn. But
I think so. Yeah, I don't think he lasts very long at all, to be honest. I think maybe 1 or 2 kills.
I have him turning on Billy at the moment that Stu would ordinarily walk in. So where he stabs Billy the first time and Billy gets away and like uses that to clear his name.
Yeah.
I don't think the Butcher goes easy on him.
No, see, I think he turns even before that because that's in
Okay.
the final act. That's right by the end that he turns on Billy. I think maybe that's when he physically turns on Billy, but I think he mentally turns on Billy after the first or second kill.
Yeah.
Because I think he doesn't want to play second fiddle to Billy and be told what to do by Billy. And also, if we take into account that all of the plot of Scream 1 is the plot of Roman Bridges as revealed in Scream 3, he's like the third in command, isn't
True.
he? Because he's taking orders not only from Billy, but also Roman Bridges. And I don't think he's going to go along with that. I think there's a very high chance that Scream 3 never happens because he also kills Roman.
Yeah, I was going to say, is there a world in which this movie, there's like a false third act where he kills Billy at the end and then him and Sydney team up to find Roman because he's like, oh, there's someone else in charge, it wasn't Billy.
Yeah, maybe.
And then they
But
go for him.
It could be, or he could just kill Sydney. I
He
think
could just kill Sydney.
the Butcher being in this film slightly kills it as a franchise. I think we're one and done if
Yeah.
the Butcher is in this, unless Sydney can still defeat him, which could be the case, to be honest, because lots of people come together to make the end happen, don't they? But I'm also thinking that maybe the end is quite different because I think Stu would also get bored of being in the Butcher's body.
Yeah, I feel like we're going a similar way with this. I have my final act, my final scene, has no Billy because he's already gone.
Yeah.
No Randy, he's already gone. The Butcher gets fed up with Randy, very early on.
Yeah.
Randy does not make it to probably Act 2 of this movie.
No, I think as soon as he calls Stu, who he thinks is Stu, Billy's lapdog,
He's done.
he's gone.
Yeah. But yeah, so I have a 3-way standoff here so as it is in Scream, but we're Butcher in Stu's body, we're Stu in Butcher's body, and Sydney. And then, so Butcher's trying to kill Sydney. Need to work out why. 'Cause I don't know.
Just because he likes killing.
Just because he likes killing.
The
just for
Butcher,
the fun
I think, doesn't need a reason to kill
and
at
I think
all.
He's just kind of, up to this point, is kind of been forcibly involved in this plot. And he's like, I might as well see it out now. It means I can kill someone else. So he's after Sydney because she's evaded him so far. And he's like, nah, I'm not having that.
Yeah.
Stu is there trying to kill the Butcher to get his body back.
With the special knife.
But also trying to kill Sydney because it was Billy's plan.
Yeah.
And he wants to go through with his friend's plan. It's more than that. Surely. Come on, guys. 2025.
Are they still boyfriends in this if the Butcher's in Stu's body?
Billy's dead.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Rip.
And then you've got Sydney trying to survive it. So I have how this goes down is Stu manages to get the Butcher with the special knife. They swap back. Butcher kills Stu. Gail Weathers gets to have her little starring role.
Yeah.
Comes in, bosh, kills the Butcher. So we have the same ending, but we got there very differently.
That's fair. See, in my version, I think everyone's gone, to be honest. Because I think that Stu very quickly realizes that if he doesn't get his body back, this isn't going to be fun anymore, and he's going to be the Butcher forever. And he's also very concerned about his parents being very mad at him. So I think that Stu in the Butcher's body disappears for like quite a large section of this film, and Billy doesn't really notice. The Butcher's just like, whatever, man, he's gone, he's not going to kill me, whatever. And I think he teams up with Gail Weathers as an investigative journalist to try and find the special knife.
I like that.
And because it's a juicier story than the murder plot for Sydney, I think she goes along with it. So I'm not sure that she's set up to be there in the final act.
Yeah, I like that as a little side quest.
Yeah, I think they
and...
go off together because she wouldn't be able to resist that.
Yeah, and to be nice, I was trying to be nice to him, but Stu Macker doesn't have the mental
He's a
ability
follower.
to find the knife himself.
Yeah, he's a follower, but he's also smart and he knows who can get him what he needs. So I think he goes to Gail Weathers to try and find this knife. I think that also changes a large part of the franchise because with Gail out the way on her side quest, her relationship with Dewey doesn't grow in the same way. And in fact, maybe because in the first movie she's using him to get what she wants, isn't she?
Yeah.
So I reckon Stu takes that role in this one.
Yeah.
So I don't know how the end plays out in mine, really. I don't know. I think the Butcher just kills everyone.
Yeah.
I think they never switch back. And I think that Gail's not there at the end.
Okay.
And if she is, I think she's gone too.
So then do you have in your universe, Scream 2 happens, right? But it's Nancy Loomis and the other guy coming back to try and take out the Butcher and avenge her son.
Billy. Yeah, instead of trying to avenge him through Sydney, they're trying to avenge the Butcher. I don't know if Sydney's still there. She's scrappy. Do you know what I mean? I think in my final act, she could survive. I think her dad's gone. I think as soon as the Butcher finds out there's a guy just tied up in the cupboard, he's gone.
He's taken that opportunity.
Yeah, and then I think he just disappears into the night, and Stu is stuck in the Butcher's body forever, basically. And I think Scream 2 potentially still happens, and it's Nancy Loomis and Mickey.
Mickey, there you go.
And they go after the Butcher and Sydney if she's alive.
is in that version of Scream 2. I know this is a Scream video, but in that version of Scream 2, is the Blissfield Butcher in Stu Macher's body your protagonist?
I think so.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
we're doing a Terminator switch.
I think so. I think that he's the protagonist, and the film is about Billy's mum and Mickey, who she just finds online, trying to avenge him. I don't think it takes place in college. It could still, because if Stu is alive, he may have gone to college.
Yeah.
We don't know.
Sydney might be. They might try and find
Yeah.
out about him through Sydney if she's alive.
Yeah, I think obviously this changes a lot.
Yeah, this changes quite a bit.
Changes quite a lot.
Okay, so that was Scream with the Blissfield Butcher
Yeah.
in Stu Macher's body.
I had one final note on this actually, and it's that Stu and Billy probably don't have as much sexual tension between them. That's the last thing I'll say.
And what a shame. What a shame that would be. We will move on next to Scream as if it was set in the 1970s. Yeah, a 20-year little leap forward in time.
Yeah, I think again this changes quite a lot, but I think it changes more superficial things. So I think going back to the opening kill, the movie trivia would be obviously different. I think they'd be asking questions about Hitchcock movies. There might be a trick question about Psycho and Norman Bates and his mum rather than Jason Voorhees and his mum.
Yeah.
I think they're talking about Romero movies.
I have, just going to add it because it leads perfectly into, I have what the 3 rules to survive a horror movie would
nice.
be if it were in the 1970s.
Nice, okay.
And it follows on pretty nicely because the first rule is never shower. The second rule is close your windows at night. And then the third rules would be never think they're dead.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
There you go.
Yeah, because I wrote that. I've got a note saying what would the rules be, and then I never added anything to it.
No, I did come through with my rules. I was
Yeah.
going to try and do it on all of the scenarios, but
Nice.
they don't change.
No, I don't think it changes as much apart from the time
Yeah.
difference. I think something that changes that might change the plot is use of cell phones or mobile phones, as we call them over here, because they're not a thing.
Yeah.
And that's a really big bit of the plot where Billy exonerates himself because they check his phone records and he
Yeah.
didn't make the call. And he gets himself put into prison by dropping the phone. Whereas he can't do that in this world because they don't exist in the 1970s as far as I'm aware.
Yeah, more than likely he gets arrested because he appears very soon after Ghostface
Yeah.
leaves Sydney's house, gets arrested and has no way of clearing himself.
Yeah, well, he could clear himself, I guess, through the kill happening whilst he's in prison.
Yeah,
But that doesn't exonerate him as not being the second killer because the phone records wouldn't be searched or anything like that. Yeah, I think it changes the plot, but maybe not significantly. It's just, I assume there's not cell phones in the 1970s.
No.
Because they're all really surprised that he has one in
No,
1996.
there are no cordless phones at all.
Okay.
So even the Casey Becker bit at the beginning,
She's stuck
she's
there.
on a corded set, and Billy would need to be on a corded phone within the same household.
Oh, yeah.
It's in a different room talking to her.
Yeah, I guess setting it in the 70s really does change a lot because
Yeah,
he
so-
can't call them unless we have him in a different place.
He's just next. Maybe he's broken
He's
in.
in a phone-
He's killed next door neighbours.
Yeah,
Calls them from next door's phone.
and Stu does all of the physical work
Yeah.
because in as it stands, they're kind of taking it. There's obviously 2 of them there based on the logistics, but maybe Billy's either in a phone booth. If they were a thing in 1970s, I
just
don't
trying
know.
to scare her about.
Or in the next door neighbour's house, like you say, maybe they kill them as well. And they call them from the neighbour's house, and Stu's he's running.
It's doing laps.
He is zooming around that house to kill Steve, to kill Casey, to get everything done,
Yeah.
which I believe he could do.
Yeah, why not?
I'm a big fan of Stu Macher. He's tall. He's got long legs, isn't it? So I think that he could do that. So maybe that does potentially change quite a lot, not being able to use phones. It's such a large part of the franchise.
It is, yeah. The only other thing I had was potentially for that first scene is if Billy and Stu somehow planted little walkie-talkies, because walkie-talkies were about.
Yeah,
so the only other
maybe.
way you could do it would be to plant walkie-talkies and then somehow make her pick it up.
Activate the walkie-talkie
Yeah.
and get her to pick it up out of curiosity,
Yeah,
which she probably would do.
she probably would, right?
Yeah, to
if
be
I
honest.
found a random walkie-talkie mouse and someone was trying to talk to me for it, I'd probably be like, bruv, what?
Yeah. I think another big thing that changes in 1970s is that serial killers were much more prevalent and they were much more on people's minds. Like throughout the 60s and the 70s, I think there's a much more like culture of serial killers. The big cases like, you know, your Manson family, your Ted Bundy, things like that. I don't know exactly the dates of those crimes, so please don't come for me if some of them were in the 80s.
Ramirez is around there as well, isn't he?
I think so.
Yeah.
It's much more ingrained in people's mind about killers.
Yeah.
Would that affect would Casey be home alone?
Yeah, I wonder, is she much more likely to have had the door locked?
Yeah, because in 1976, I think people are thinking more about serial killers and like home invasions and things like this. So I wonder whether she's less likely to be able to be infiltrated through her home. I don't know.
Whether even like Billy can get up to Sydney's windows and things, whether there are precautions in place to stop things like that happening.
Yeah, and I think that would be enough to have him convicted, going back to what we were saying earlier, not convicted, arrested. The fact that he appears through the window so soon after the killer is there, I think that's enough in this time period to be like, that was you.
Yeah, it's a really good point.
Yeah, and then with fingerprinting and DNA and things like this, I think it's just a whole different era, obviously. That's the point why we're discussing it. But it's a whole different era of like crime and forensic investigation. So there'd be less fingerprinting, less DNA and blood checking. I don't know what the phrase is. But I looked it up and they did do fingerprinting in 1970s and it was becoming a lot more automated. So it was starting to be kind of prevalent. So we could have that they could test the blood and the DNA. This is a special interest area of mine, in case you couldn't tell, despite not knowing any of the technical terminology.
Yeah, Sarah's gone into details like that, and one of my notes down here says he wouldn't have the mask because you didn't have, like, that wasn't popular. Like, the Jason and the stuff hadn't happened, so you don't have your masked killers. So instead, he would be dressed as a shark.
Yes. Yeah. Yes, you looked up popular Halloween costumes, didn't you?
The most popular Halloween costumes or the most popular, like, horror-y things, yeah. So I've got him dressed as a shark.
Yeah.
So you've got him running around.
From Jaws, just in case you didn't pick up on that. So yeah, a lot changing. If he's even dressed up.
If he's even dressed up, he might not be.
Although I think for this plot, they probably still would be, because they still know the people, don't they?
Yeah, you're still trying to hide your identity.
Still trying to hide the identity. I think the film's just a lot different in style as well in the 1970s.
So do you have a, like, 70s horror director in mind who could take over? I mean, Craven's still about.
Yeah, Wes Craven was making films in the 70s, so does he just
He just does
make it?
He just makes it. It's just less.
I think it's a very different film if he makes it in the 70s, though, because he's not really dipped his toes yet into pastiche, and he's not really made loads of horror films to not parody or pastiche the genre.
Yeah, we're pre-Nightmare, so
Yes.
that's really his first, like, real silly one. Like, it's not silly because
Not
it's actually
silly.
supposed to be horror, but, like, we look back at it now and it's
It's his
a bit
first
nuts.
go, I think, in the slasher genre. So he hasn't worked extensively in the genre yet. He also hasn't made New Nightmare, which is the kind of precursor to Scream. It's his first go at making pastiche. So I don't know. I think his 70s films are a lot more violent, a lot more nasty in tone.
Mm-hmm.
So
Well, yeah, I mean, Nightmare is. I know it's 80s, but he hasn't made it yet. So maybe in his mind, he's like, oh, I want to have a movie that's a bit more. Maybe Scream becomes a bit more like Nightmare is.
yeah.
And you get blood splurting all, and it's just crazy. Gore.
Yeah. And then you get another franchise 20 years later
Yeah.
where he parodies that or pastiches that. So I think Wes Craven could still do it, but I do still think that makes it a very different film.
Mm-hmm.
Other contenders, we've got Toby Hooper, who did Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which I guess is still in the same genre as this, but again, it's a bit nastier. Although, having said that, the first Texas Chainsaw film is not that nasty. It's all left to the imagination. So I don't know. Maybe that's the closest we have.
Yeah, maybe
I'm not
he's
sure.
a shout, or go really, really, really different. Make it a giallo.
Yeah, get Argento to do it.
Argento in there. It's going to be weird as all hell.
Yeah, I think I would love to see that.
A Scream.
To be honest,
Giallo Scream
yes,
film. Yeah,
I
it
would
be-
absolutely love that. And then 20 years after that, Wes Craven can make a pastiche of Giallo films.
There you go. That would be something to see.
Just some other time, I mean, it's all time related. We're talking about it being the 70s. Some other anachronistic bits that I thought of was that video stores, from what I can tell, were emerging at this point. They weren't the kind of big thing that they were in the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know whether everyone would have such a deep knowledge of film. Does Randy's character change because he works in the video store? And if the video store is not like this gathering place, because everyone seems to be at the video store in that one scene, that'll have to take place somewhere else, I think. I think Randy's a kind of really weird person who works in a video store and no one really knows what that is.
Yeah. Or maybe he's like a projection booth.
Yeah,
Guy at the cinema.
maybe they work at the cinema and they all
Yeah.
gather in the foyer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that works too. Something else I had was the time delay video equipment. I'm not sure that exists. You know, when they're in the house and the cameraman.
This one goes entirely because the teeny cameras
Yeah.
do not exist.
Oh, so the little spy camera
The
doesn't
cameras
exist.
are all large. They cannot see inside that house. So Kenny sees all the kids just running out and screaming and stuff, but doesn't know why. He can't see it
Yeah.
on the screen.
Yeah.
So he's not distracted and stuff. He's not got all that stuff. So he sees
probably
them running out.
survives.
Does he? Yeah, he just gets out of there like, oh, well, I'm not
I think he
hanging about.
does. I think he does.
Or
But then,
he goes to investigate.
true. I think he just ups and goes. He doesn't give.
Probably does.
He doesn't give courageous spirit.
No.
But what else could change is if they're not there to plant small cameras, why are they there? That's Gail's whole purpose in being there.
Yeah.
She tells Dewey it's that she wants to accompany him, but she slyly puts the little cameras in, so that's obviously her true purpose.
Yeah.
So if she can't do that, why is she there?
Does the Dewey story get forgotten and we get Gail Weathers now kind of on her own accord trying to find out about stuff, going undercover as a high schooler?
Maybe. I don't know. I don't know what happens with that plot because I don't understand the technology enough.
That's fair.
The policing's probably similar. I don't know whether Gail wants to get involved with. I don't know. I think that she's even more kind of fame hungry, wanting to get the next big serial killer case.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what happens to her with Dewey. The last thing I had on my list of notes, if you have any more, is TVs in the 1970s.
This was my last
Yeah.
note as well.
So Stu obviously gets crushed by a TV.
I think with Stu, I think what it is his head goes through the screen and he's electrocuted.
Okay.
Is what kills him.
Okay.
Not the weight of the TV.
Well, I think maybe in the 70s it is the weight of the TV.
I think it probably is, yeah. So the average TV size is about 25 inches.
In the
average
70s.
screen size in the
Okay.
70s is about 25 inches, but obviously they're the thick screens
They're
on
thick
the
at the
back
back.
and quite heavy. So, but they're also, I looked up the type of glass they used.
Yeah.
It seems to be quite a strong, so I'm not sure if it fell. I'm not sure it would shatter. I
But
think
it
it might
might
just fall and hit him.
cave his head in.
So it's whether crushes his head completely. And if we're saying this is a Wes Craven being really brutal film, it probably does. You
probably
get a
does.
practical effects like pumpkin
Yeah.
squash.
But then on the flip side, if it's that heavy, can Sydney pull it off the wall?
Yeah. Yeah, maybe not.
Yeah,
No,
I don't
it's
know.
Wired and plugged in, probably short cables.
Yeah, I don't know. But I think, we get a very different death, but the TV death can still stand.
Mm-hmm.
He just gets it caved in
Yeah,
rather than
I think
electrocuted.
it would be brutal.
I think it would be really nasty.
Yeah.
And like you said, if we're talking Wes Craven 70s, it's going to be nasty.
Yeah, it's going to be zoomed in. You see his head turn into like a mannequin really clearly. And then just watermelon.
I think the same for if it's Argento.
Yeah.
It's just crushed.
Would do, yeah. But in that
If
one, we
it's
get
Toby
green lighting.
Hooper, I think we pull away just before it crushes his head. But I think with the other two, we see it. And there's no conspiracy on Stu Macker coming back because his head has been caved in by a TV.
This 30 years later, everyone's like waiting for Scream 6 and they're just like, well, we know Stu's not going to be in it. So
there's no way he's coming back from this film.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's all I have to say on the 70s.
Yeah, that's all I have as well for
Yeah,
Scream
fair.
in the 70s. Let's move on to the last prompt, which was Scream as if it happened in London.
Yes. Now, it's all superficial, really, I think, here. I couldn't work out what about the plot would really change, because it's not like America and the UK are like a million miles away in terms of culture and things like that. So I think it's mostly superficial changes. The only plot change that I could really foresee is the guns in the final sequence, whether guns are so prevalent.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a tricky one, actually, because 1996, when this film came out, is when the UK started to get a lot stricter on gun laws. So gun laws in the UK got a lot stricter after an incident at a school called Dunblane. And following this, rules became really strict around guns.
Mm-hmm.
However, this happened in 1996 with the laws coming into effect and being discussed, from what I can tell from my research. If I've got that wrong, please let me know. With the laws coming into effect from and being discussed in 1997. So it's happening at the same time.
So feasibly, could it just easily be the same?
It could. This is what I was saying. It's a tricky one because it depends when. So we know that Scream 2 had a lot of changes made to it because it was being made at the same time as Columbine.
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't want to like recreate that on film.
Yeah, of course.
So does that happen to Scream 1? If it's set in London, does the same thing happen? While they're making the film, does that incident, tragedy happen? And they have to change the plot somewhat.
They would just reshoot
like they
without
did with
the
Scream
guns.
2.
I would
Like
have
they did
thought,
with Scream 2.
So
Yeah.
you'd be reshooting and it would probably come down to being all knives.
Yeah, maybe. But Scream 2 was massively changed because they didn't want to give the same vibe. So would they want to give the same vibe of it being set in a high school? I guess the final act does take place in a house.
This is the thing, yeah. There's no shooting that I remember in the school itself.
No.
There's no real horror stuff in the school.
No.
It's all outside. They're just school kids.
I mean, the principal is taken out.
Oh, yeah.
But that's not with that weapon.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I guess the difference being the climax of Scream 2 takes place in the college.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas the climax of the first Scream takes place in a house.
Yeah.
So I guess, yeah, maybe it stays the same. Maybe we reshoot with a different weapon at the end. That does actually bring me nicely into my next change, in that we don't have here those huge houses. Stu's farmhouse is not a location.
No.
We have them in the UK, obviously, but we had to narrow this down for the purposes of making this easier to talk about.
Yeah.
So in London specifically, this house does not exist.
No, and if it does, and Stu Macker lives there, he is going to private school.
He's not at school with the others.
and he does not exist in this film.
No, he doesn't go to school with the other kids. Yeah, he goes to a private school. So that's one of the big changes for me that's superficial is the locations. We don't have these gorgeous big houses as the locations.
No, at best that is semi-detached. There's lots of neighbours going to be looking on for everything that goes on.
Yeah, this is set on like a council estate in London, which brings a very different vibe to it than that standalone farmhouse. We also, I mean, this is based on our cultural knowledge of the US from movies and TVs
movies,
and from Scream itself, these huge houses. It's not happening here. It's not happening. So I think they'd have to be a lot more careful on how they shot the chase sequences. So where Sydney is running around her house and then she goes up the stairs, I think those are quite different in a UK house in a London house in the 90s.
Well, the Casey Becker one, she runs out the front door, along the driveway, screaming for help. Someone's helping her. Someone's hearing that.
Well, they might not help her, but they're hearing it.
They'll hear it. You'll have lots of.
And that's a giant garden. That's not happening in London either. No. I don't know where Steve in the opening kill is getting.
He's going to have to fall from the loft or something. Yeah. They chuck him out the loft.
Yeah, they put him on the Juliet balcony.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that the action sequences are a bit different because obviously we do have houses like that in the UK, but specifically in London around this time period, we're looking at smaller houses.
Yeah.
And I think the school is very different as well.
It is.
It's not this giant sprawling building. It's going to be made up of temporary blocks that are barely standing. It's going to be like 5 rooms. Basing that purely off my school, it's going to be about to fall down. It's not one big cohesive building. And I don't know, I think it's a lot harder for maybe the principal to go in this one. So at my school, for instance, we didn't have this big head teacher office, really. We had a very small cupboard that was a cupboard that had been repurposed to be his office.
Yeah, ours was upstairs. There was so we had our little lunch room. So we've got the canteen, and then in the middle of the canteen is like not a spiral staircase, but one of those ones.
I went to a fancy school.
Yeah, we go up there, and above that is the isolation room and the teacher's lounge.
Yeah.
And the principal's office up there. So it would be hard to get up there
with no one noticing. And you didn't really get sent to the head teacher.
That's the thing.
In our school, we had what was called on call.
Yeah.
And if you were playing up, someone was coming to that classroom to cuss you out, and it wasn't normally the head teacher.
Yeah. Yeah, there was very rarely a reason for a student to go up there in ours as well. Yeah. So it would be noticed.
It would be noticeable if a student went to the headmaster's office.
You want a teeny tiny, really insignificant, silly change?
Yeah.
Just for the bounce? Yeah. There is a scene in which the police are eating Dunkin' Donuts. That is not a thing here, or it wasn't until very recently. Those police have Greggs sausage rolls.
Ah, yeah, 100%. I was just going to say, I don't know if Krispy Kreme was even a thing in the 90s.
No, it's a Greggs sausage roll.
It's a Greggs sausage roll, and they're loving it. They're eating sausage rolls, they're eating yum-yums.
Yeah. Because
you can't just get one thing from Greggs. So they've got 2 savoury items, and they've got a sweet treat.
Oh, it's a sausage roll.
And a steak bake.
Yeah, and then, either a yum-yum or just a glazed donut of some kind.
Yeah, I think so.
If you want to stick to your Dunkin' Donuts, then they've got a Greggs donut along with
If you want to stick it to donuts, box of donuts.
So there you go, there's a change for you.
Yeah, they're eating Greggs. I think I really just struggled to find with what would be different for this that wasn't superficial. So one small thing, I think, Gale Weathers, I think instead of working for like I don't know what you call them. We don't really have them here. Traveling news person. She's in a van. But she's in a van and she travels around and gets the news.
Yeah.
I don't know. We don't have that as much here. I think that Gail Weathers works for News of the World or The Sun in the 90s. And I think that she's 100% involved in the phone hacking scandal. Has nothing to do with the film. But I thought about that and I thought, yeah, you know what? I want to include that.
Going back to the houses and a little superficial change from that. Old girlie in the garage. Garages like that, not really over here.
No one's really got a garage, especially not in London.
No, and not one that is attached to the side of your house and you just kind of walk down. You wouldn't store your beers there. Your beers are going to be outside the back door because it's freezing cold and raining
Or in the
outside.
utility room.
Or in the utility room or at the shed at the end of the garden.
We have a special room where we keep our washing machine and that is where we also keep beers.
But probably those beers are kept somewhere where that party is reaching and he is incapable of killing her there.
True.
I think
Very
she might
true.
survive.
I think she might survive. It's probably just in a bucket with some cold water in it in the garden.
It's in a bucket full of ice and cans.
Don't even think it's got ice. They're teenagers. It's got cold water in it.
It's got rainwater that's gathered over the night.
They're just having this party in a field somewhere.
They're out in a public
with their Frosty Jacks and their cider. So yeah, maybe he can take her if they're just in a field. But if we keep that it's in a house party, then yeah, it's unlikely that he can take. There's just simply not enough room in these houses for there to be a special place where he can go and take her out.
Which unfortunately means we don't get the garage door kill.
Even if he does get her, that's not happening.
The infamous garage door kill.
Yeah, we have garages here, just not like that. Our houses are just built different. I don't know. They're just different from what I can gather from American media.
I've never ever seen a garage that opens with a button electronically.
No, me neither. I've barely seen a garage.
One of my old houses had a garage.
Yeah.
But we had to put the key in the front of it, turn that, and then it folded. It didn't go up either. It went.
It folds.
Like that.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't have. She would have just gone. Oh.
Yeah, my sister had a garage, and it was the same thing. It was really difficult to undo it. And I'm quite short, so I couldn't do it anyway because literally it, like you say, it folded rather than that. So I could push it up, and then I had to like jump and shove it to get it the rest of the way. So yeah, I guess we do have garages some places, but they are quite different. Yeah.
So we'll replace that with a British kill. What's a
shed?
British house party
shed
kill of the week in the shed. You're in the shed with all the tools.
Sheds are pretty.
Yeah, sheds are dangerous.
I reckon they are having the house party at a house in London. The parents are out for the evening. Kids want to smoke some cigs. And the person, Stu, is like, you can smoke a cig, but do it in the shed so that my neighbours don't see you. Yeah. So Tatum goes, this presumes that Tatum smokes cigs, which
she now does.
In London in the 90s, she did. So she's gone out to the shed for a cig, and she's the only one there. And Ghostface then wrecks her in the shed, which makes sense because there's tools in the shed.
Yeah. So it's tools, or it's her Stu's dad is a professional either darts player or snooker player.
Yeah.
So it's a snooker cue or it's throwing some darts.
I don't think it even has to be professional. I think he's just got a dartboard in the shed.
My nonna had a dartboard in her shed. We used to play darts in the garden with my nonna. So there we go. This takes place in my nonna's shed. And he kills her with some darts.
Yeah, I think that's fantastic. I think that is fantastic. So casting-wise, I had a little look-see for some British actors. And I actually really struggled with this. Not that there weren't British actors in the 1990s. Of course there were. But I don't know. I just really struggled to find ones that I thought would suit the characters. So I put John Sim for Stu. What do you think about that? Do you know John Sim?
Nope.
John Sim is the master in Doctor Who. He's also in Life on Mars. And I just think he plays a really good villain. Like an
Yeah.
over-the-top, scenery-chewing villain.
I can absolutely see the Master or like Stu Macker being a role that someone would look at and then be like, yeah, we want you to play the Master.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's purely his performance as the Master in Doctor Who that made me think, you know what?
Mm-hmm.
John Sim
Yeah, I get that.
would be great
Mm-hmm.
as Stu. I put Jude Law for
Ooh.
Billy
Nice.
because he's handsome as hell.
That feels like it would have happened.
I'm not sure I've seen him in too many villainous roles, but I think he'd be okay. He's a villain in Captain Marvel,
Yes. Yeah.
which I don't know. But I think he has that charm. He's got the charm side down.
I think he would do Billy.
I
Loomis.
think he'd do pretty
Yeah,
well.
he's good.
I had Simon Pegg for Randy because I saw that Simon Pegg was around at that time, and I was like, you know what? Yeah, I can actually 100% see him being Randy.
Yeah, I like that.
Just a kind of know-it-all, self-aware comedy character.
Mm-hmm.
I think he would make it a slightly more comedic character.
Yeah.
Than the other actor
Yeah.
did. I had Ewan McGregor for Dewey.
Oh, very nice. I think that's good as well.
I think,
that.
yeah, I
love
thought that was a great one.
That's really good.
To be honest.
Yeah.
And I can't explain to you why. I think that's a good one. I just think it's great. I had Naomi Harris as Sydney,
Okay.
who I also think is a really great one. She is fantastic in 28 Days Later.
Mm-hmm.
And so she's got Final Girl vibes.
Yeah.
I had Olivia Colman as Tatum.
Okay.
I struggled with Tatum.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to lie to you. I just looked at who was left on the list and I thought, that'll do. And then I had Rosamund Pike as Gail, who is my favourite of these. That's why I put her last.
Yeah.
I think she would be amazing
Yeah,
as
that
Gail.
works.
I originally put her as Sydney, and then I thought, no, she's wasted on Sydney. She is Gail Weathers, no doubt. And that was my casting for a British Scream.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
Yeah,
I think you've done really well.
I think that would be, I think that's who it would be.
Yeah.
I don't really have much else to say about it. It's all really superficial stuff. Like, Woodsboro is a small town, whereas if we were doing it in London, obviously it's a large city, but then you have smaller communities within London,
Yeah.
so you could still get that small town vibe. It's just a whole different vibe, to be
It is.
honest.
That is the main thing that changes is the vibe, the music, and yeah, as you're saying, like just those little superficial things but would make the movie feel very different. Even though it would be the same thing, the plot and stuff would.
Yeah, I can't see the plot changing too much.
No. So that is What If Scream edition, I guess.
Yeah, we did say in the intro that we would look at doing all three in one, but I think we've spoken for long enough, to be honest.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a long video, how it is.
Yeah.
Maybe put in the comments down below some like major things or some silly things that you think would come out of all three of these things happening at once, or if there's anything that's come to mind with any of the categories.
Yeah,
think it would have
anything
changed?
we've missed, because obviously we can't catch everything. Anything that you think would have changed, because a lot of that was our opinion as well. So which of those would you like to see as well? I would love to see Scream set in my school.
Your school specifically.
My school was a wild place,
Yeah.
and I would love to see Scream set there.
But yeah, let us know which of these three you think would make the best film, which one would be your favourite that you're most excited for, and we'll make it. No, we're not going to make it. But yeah, like the video if you liked it. Like it even if you didn't, because why not? Subscribe to the channel for more. We plan on doing these what ifs
Semi-regularly?
semi-regularly in the future, focusing again just on some of our favourite old horror movies. Maybe not necessarily older,
Yeah.
just our favourite horror movies. If you've got any suggestions for horror movies that you think might be fun, or any suggestions for things that could go on the wheel, would be really helpful. some fun little changes to movies you can think of, please drop them down below. Last but not least, hit that notification bell, because when the next one goes live, you're going to want to see it.
Bye.